original concept for this video was gonna be comparing protective styles and wash and go styles to see which ones are better. And it was never gonna be which ones look better, because that's never my goal with this channel. Of course, yes, I do hairstyles that are, you know, cute and that I think look good, but it's never gonna be do this to make your hair look amazing. It's always gonna be me learning more about my daughter's hair and me, you know, figuring out what works for her health-wise. The health of her hair is always going to be my #1 most important thing, because obviously healthy hair is going to grow. So it was always going to be me comparing the two to know which one is healthier for natural hair. And then it dawned on me, every hair is different. And so leave-in styles, what am I talking about? Protective styles are gonna work better for some people, and wash and go styles are gonna work better for other people. And not only is it, you know, everybody's hair is different, everybody's daily routine is different, everybody's preferences are gonna be different, and so there is no way for me to compare the two and be like, all right, this one's the better one, go do it. Instead, I'm going to be talking about the two different styles, and I'm going to give you the pros and cons to both, at least from my perspective and my opinion, and then you can go forth and decide which one is going to work better for you. So I have my list right here, if I can find it. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about protective styles. So what is a protective style? It is a hairstyle that protects the hair. You leave it in for a long time. Now, everybody's different as far as how long they leave it in. I personally leave a protective style in my daughter's hair for a week. And that is only because I just genuinely enjoy doing her hair. And so after a week, it's like, okay, let me play with your hair again now and do a different style. You can leave these protective styles in for a long time. The only thing I will say is know your hair and know how fast it grows, and not only how fast it grows, but know whether or not your hair will mat and tangle underneath a protective style if you leave it for long enough for new growth to grow, if that makes sense. The biggest benefit for me anyway, and what I found with my daughter's hair, is the fact that protective styles keep your hair tangle free. And that was the biggest thing for us, because once I started learning these different styles and could keep them in for a long time, once I take them out to do a different style or to wash it or whatever, I'm not then having to detangle her hair and ripping out more hair because it's knotted and matted and tangled. It keeps it tangle free because it just stays in that style. So then when I go to brush it, I'm not pulling out a bunch of hair. And honestly, I count protective styles as one of the biggest factors in how fast my daughter's hair has grown, at least in the last couple of years, because for that reason, it kept it tangle free and I didn't feel like I was pulling out her hair when I was trying to get the tangles out from just doing wash and go hairstyles. I think if I were to be a wash and go hair person, or, you know, for my daughter's hair, I would have had to have been doing a whole lot more washing and going. If that makes sense. I would have had to wash her hair and detangle it way more often than I was doing. And that is one thing I'll get in when I start talking about the wash and go hairstyles. But yeah, I wasn't doing that at the time. I would leave her hair be, and then whenever I would go to style it, I was having to rip out all these tangles because I wasn't doing anything to help it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up examples right now of protective styles I have done on my daughter's hair. And honestly, all the hairstyles before this video that I have put on this channel are protective styles or can be used as protective styles. So if you want examples on easy hairstyles to do that are also protective hairstyles, you can go ahead and click the links wherever I put them. So that's one thing that I kind of just touched on, is the fact that protective styles will aid in hair growth, or at least it did for us. I know so many people who have talked about, like, if you want your hair to grow, don't do protective hairstyles, because I guess it didn't work for them and it didn't help their hair grow. And they suggest doing more wash and go hairstyles than protective hairstyles. And I think it's because the less manipulation you put on the hair, obviously you're pulling out less hairs. But for us personally, it kind of worked because I don't know why it worked for us and why it didn't work for other people, or doesn't work for other people. That's going to be something that you have to research for your own hair to know what works for you and what doesn't, which is why I'm making this video, so that you know the pros and cons and what worked for us, just in case your hair is similar to my daughter's. It could work for you too. So another benefit to protective styles is the fact that there are so many hairstyles you can do. You can have twists, you can have braids, you can have different types of braids, you can have, oh my goodness, there's so many different styles that you can do that are obviously preference as far as what looks good and what doesn't. It's all completely up to you. And you can have your natural hair, or you can do feed-in hair with braids, or you know, whatever, without having to detangle a lot, or without having to worry about, I don't know, your hair getting smushed when you're sitting down in the car and, you know, going to sleep and all that kind of stuff. You can just have your hair and it be in the style that it's going to be in and go about your day. And that's definitely a benefit for us, because anytime we go out somewhere, or I know we're going to be going out somewhere, I put her hair in a protective style, and then we go to leave the house. I don't have to do anything to her hair because it's already done. It's already in the style and I don't have to do anything. And honestly, that's a benefit for me personally and our hair journey, is the fact that when I go to do her hair, if I'm gonna do a wash and go hairstyle, it takes a little bit long for me to do it, because I have to detangle it and then actually do the hairstyle and then do her edges. And so it just kind of adds time unnecessarily, for me anyway, onto us going out somewhere, whereas I could just braid her hair the day before, or you know, a few days before, whenever, and all I have to do is maybe do her baby hairs if I care to do it, you know, maybe do her edges, and then that's it. So it's definitely one benefit that you can factor in, I guess, when you weigh which one you're gonna be more towards, I suppose, is the fact that yes, actually doing the protective hairstyle takes quite a while. I think when I do stuff like box braids and stuff on my daughter's hair, it takes a little bit over an hour, but that's a little bit over an hour for a day that will then last for a few weeks if you want to leave it in for that long. So that's definitely a benefit. So for wash and go hairstyles, obviously me personally, I can find more cons than pros to them, and that is purely because protective styles worked better for my daughter's hair than just having wash and go hairstyles has. That doesn't mean there aren't any pros, and I'm going to tell you some of those right now, but I also do just want to base this that I have a little bit of a bias towards protective hairstyles over wash and go. So just bear that in mind when you watch this video. So with wash and go hairstyles, you definitely have to wash your hair, I would say, more often than you would if you do more protective hairstyles. For example, if I were to just always do wash and go hairstyles on my daughter's hair, I would probably wash her hair every week, maybe even like a little under a week, like every 5 days possibly, just so all the product and stuff that I use in her hair isn't starting to weigh it down. But then again, that's my preference. If you find that you can do wash and go hairstyles and you can still go a week or over a week, or you know, whatever, without washing your hair, do what works for you. But I'm basing this obviously on our experience and the journey that I've gone on learning my daughter's hair. So yeah, you definitely have to wash your hair more often, and then you have to detangle your hair more often, so that unless it's your goal to have dreads, or unless it's your goal to, I don't know, you just don't necessarily care to detangle your hair, whatever, you're gonna need to detangle your hair so that it's detangled and it doesn't get matted and stuff together. So With wash and go hairstyles, you're definitely going to have a routine set as far as the days you wash your hair and how you detangle it and all that kind of stuff. Now, the reason I say how you detangle it is because a lot of people say that you can detangle it in the shower. You know, you put the conditioner in and then comb it out while you're in the shower. I have never done that with my daughter's hair, only because I will use leave-in conditioner and then detangle with the leave-in conditioner, and that just kind of works for us. She kind of hates having her hair washed, which is why I have not filmed a wash day routine yet, just because I don't want to put her through something that's really not necessary. I can kind of talk you through a wash day routine rather than filming it, but because she doesn't love having her hair washed, I kind of try and get the wash out of the way, and then I can detangle it once she's out of the bath and we put the leave-in conditioner in and stuff. And it still works just as well as far as not pulling the hair and not ripping hair out and stuff like that. So obviously when you do protective hairstyles, you are manipulating the hair for when you're actually, you know, doing the hairstyle. And then some people could argue that it's still kind of manipulating the hair and pulling the hair when you leave it in. I personally don't feel like it does that much damage, but again, that is just my opinion and our experience. But one of the great things about wash and go hairstyles are there are so many hairstyles that can range from a simple bun to like slicking your hair back and doing all this different stuff, to where you can have a really low manipulation hairstyle. But there are so many different options really for either one that you go for, whether it's protective or wash and go. There are so many different hairstyles that you can choose from, and again, it's all preference really, because some people might not want to put in the work that wash and go styles take, as far as, you know, having to wash more often and detangle, all the kind of stuff that I just talked about, but they might prefer the look of wash and go hairstyles. And if that's your opinion, that's fine. And you might just kind of stick it out because of that, as far as doing the work that it takes, just because you like the style. So it's really your opinion on, you know, which one you like more as far as the look of them. So if you're kind of weighing your options and you feel like either one will keep your hair healthy, but you're doing it based on which one you like the look of more, do whatever makes you happy. That's all I'm gonna say with that, because I'm not here to tell you do this because it looks better, because that's not, I don't really think it matters what your hair looks like, if that makes sense. So there is one thing that I need to talk about, just because some people may care about it, is the fact that with a lot of protective hairstyles, you may find that if you go to like a stylist or something like that, they will use feed-in hair, or they'll use essentially fake hair for the style. And so if that's something you care about, as far as you just want it to be your natural hair and not using anything, which you can totally do for protective hairstyles, there's absolutely no pressure to use feed-in hair or, you know, whatever. But if it is something that you just want to rock your natural hair and nothing added to it, then wash and go hairstyles may be something you want to lean more towards, because you're not going to be adding hair. So I have absolutely no idea how long this video is going to be. I just felt like this would be kind of an interesting video to make, because when I first started my journey into learning my daughter's hair, I really didn't know the difference between the two different options, I guess. And I thought that people who are just starting out on their journey, or, you know, for the kid, you know, whoever, that it would be useful for you too, so that you can know, you know, which one you're gonna lean towards. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, it is really based on how your hair reacts to certain hairstyles, what your daily routine is, as to whether, you know, as to whether you just want to get it over with and do the style and then leave it, or whether you are the type of person who wants to have a different hairstyle a lot more often, or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's really based on you and your opinions and how your hair works and what's going to work best for you to keep your hair healthy. Because it took a long time for me to learn what works best for my daughter's hair and how to keep it healthy. And so, like I've said in previous videos, that is why I started this channel. I want it to be a place where beginners, in a sense, who are starting their own hair journey, or for a child, or you know, whatever the case may be, and they really don't know anything, they don't know how to do anything, they want to learn the basics and the simple side of everything, they can come to this channel. Because for me, I felt like it was very overwhelming to be having all this information thrown at me, and I didn't even know the basics, you know? I didn't know the difference between protective styles and wash and go hairstyles, and so I had no idea how to use those hairstyles to work towards the health of my child's hair, if that makes sense. I don't know if it did or not. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, let me know down below, because I don't know, I want to start like a little community here. So if you have anything, you would add anything to this video, and what your pros and cons to both are. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.